Okay, so today I got a pretty much a regular rebuild. I just wanted to take a look at this one on camera. So it's got a US Speedo inlay, but it's not US Speedo who did it. The customer has already been inside of this one before. He's trying to figure out what was going on. He broke the one needle. That's why he's got the orange one. Unfortunately, he wants to keep it just like this. I don't have any of these white and silver ones, and he just wanted to keep it like that. So that's how it's going to be when it's done. So here we take a look and see who actually did the repair, which is myairbags.com. So here's who actually did the repair. I would assume it was not US Speedo and then My Airbags. I assume just My Airbags bought the inlay from them. So let's go ahead and get into this. So we can see where the customer damaged the screen a little bit there. So kind of looks like this just goes, yeah, it looks like they just put this metal insert over a white inlay. Alright, so let's just take a look and see how this is done. I'm just curious. Alright, so they do a plastic inlay and glue it to it, so you can't just separate the two layers. Alright, so put that back down, and let's open her all the way up and see what we have inside. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Alright, so we have the black stepper motors on here, and oh wow, we got some cracked solder joints on there. Yeah, let's zoom in on that. Now, I can't say for sure that this is the original board since they worked on it, but yeah, that guy's got a big old cracked solder joint right across it. Camera's not picking it up. See if maybe y'all can see it, but yeah, so that was the problem, is it's sometimes not turning on, so I figured we'd be looking at cracked solder joints in that area, and you can just see it all the way across that spot right there. So I found that kind of interesting. Alright, well, let's get this thing apart and put some new actual X27 stepper motors in here and install the LEDs the customer wants. Okay, so I finished up with that one that had the US Speedo inlay and the My Airbags. So talked to the customer some more when he came back to pick it up. So he's the one that installed the US Speedo inlay on there. It was not My Airbags. It was a My Airbags instrument cluster when he got it, and then he bought that inlay off a friend, and he bought it for $20. So what a steal! It's like a $400 inlay that he got for $20 off his friend. So yeah, so he put the inlay in there, and then he brought it for rebuild. And he ended up going with some red Trailblazer needles instead of the silver ones that he was missing one of. So it came out looking pretty nice. So let's go ahead and get this one apart. So let me plug it in so we can take a look and see what's going on here. Customer stated that it had some blue LEDs in it, and they're not all working. He just bought it from like a junkyard. Okay, so we don't have park reverse neutral. Let's turn off this light so we can see. We do have blue LEDs in here, but I don't think it's necessarily that some aren't working. I think it's okay, yeah, we got two that aren't working, and we definitely have really dim LEDs. I have a feeling what we're going to find inside there are like these style LEDs with a resistor on there. So this looks like it's probably going to be a little homemade deal, but let's get this apart and try to figure out why that screen's not working. Unfortunately, I've run into situations where it's not just this resistor, and I'm not 100% sure what's causing it. I just haven't had the time to dive in on those boards. But if I do figure out what it is, I'll definitely do a video on those and show. But let's see what's going on in this one. Hopefully it's just the resistors. But let's take this apart and see what's going on inside here. Well, we have one where this was glued onto it. I can actually feel the adhesive, so... Oh, we got like a crack through it too. Alright, yeah. So, let's get this guy apart and see what's inside there, and then we'll see if we can get that off of there. Okay, so we have, yes, very stuck on there. C5 still, and then all these, and then these are going to be those 12 volt. Okay, I've seen these before. I was wondering if they were any good at all. Apparently not. Oh, got all solder burns on the soldering iron hit that one and that one. Yeah, and I got a pile of these that came out of the last cluster I just did. Alright, so let's, oh yeah, well, it looks like we're probably in luck. Let's see. Let's take a look and see if we can figure out what's going on there. Yep, so it's just the common points there for that. Yeah, so, looks like our turn LEDs aren't working either. Oh well. Alright, let's get this guy apart and get her back up and running. Okay, I wasn't gonna record taking them off, but I guess since I already started recording, I'll do it. But let's take a look at this. I haven't even taken any of them off yet, and oh, there we go. So somebody missed a solder joint there when they put that on, but it looks like we're not missing any solder pads, which is a good sign. Let's continue on with this. Waiting on that to heat up, so let's get these LEDs off while we wait. Okay, I know this video is not having too much continuity here. I'm really busy today. I'm not having an easy day for doing some recording. I got a bunch of these to do today. But I noticed looking up from when I had this out, there was something covering these two lights, so that way they can't see it. So let's pull it out and see what it is. I could read a little bit of it, so it's kind of funny to me. But so there we go. So we got some electrical tape on a piece of paper, and I saw that it said something about fingerprints on there. So yeah, they used some sort of piece of cardboard here. Let's see if we can get it off of there without ripping it. Alright, so right 4 fingers taken simultaneously. So this is like when you get booked at the police government printing office. Yeah, this is like a piece of the paper that they like take your fingerprints when you do something criminal. So that's hilarious that this was part of their sticker. Hopefully they did this because they thought somebody would find this humorous in the future. I don't know why they chose that piece of paper to tape to it, and why even put the paper? I mean, if you're gonna tape it, just put the electrical tape directly on there. Like, What is this? And why is it here? Other than if you just wanted to give us the fingerprints of the person, but I mean, there's no fingerprints on it. But that's so funny. This is like a background check piece of paper that's in there. I can't make this up. This was there, and I didn't show it in the last one that I did the one that had the U.S. Speedo thing. They had sprayed great stuff down there where the traction control light goes. So yeah, let's finish putting this guy back together. Yeah, it's a shame we got a big old smudge there from the guy that put those cheap LEDs in. So I'd seen those LEDs on like the kits they sell on Amazon and stuff. I never knew how terrible they were. I've never used those rounded top with the integrated resistor. I don't think any of them were actually bad. They were just some really terrible solder joints on them that was making them not work. So let's get this back together and call this one done. And I get to call the guy and tell him. All right. That's still too funny to me that we had the bad, or sorry, not bad, the fingerprinting paper in there. That, like, where did they even get that from? Got home from jail and then decided to tear up an instrument cluster? I don't know. But those bulbs are pretty easy to remove if you're going to go that route, if you want to just remove them instead of fixing what's wrong with your truck. But I don't know. I don't have an answer to why somebody would tape down their fingerprints literally inside there. And then this one had one broken needle, and they had broke it pretty good. When I first got started, so my first thought when I did this, one of the first instrument clusters I ever did for somebody, I broke it in that manner, where it even had this little tiny notch missing out of it like this one is, and I thought maybe this was one I had done before, but once I got in there and saw the LEDs that were in there, I've literally never used those before, and I'd been curious if they were any good. I knew they weren't going to be great because they're not diffused, but that's something you can fix with sandpaper, and they're pretty cheap. But no, those are just absolutely terrible. So let's take a look here and see what we get. And I'll probably have one more instrument cluster that I at least record something out of it, just to kind of show what one of my weekend days goes like. So that's a little bit high, and everything else looks good. Yep. Alright, we'll call that done, and I get to make a little phone call at the... Okay, so we're kind of not making a fully coherent video here, but this one's going to be the last repair of the day. I skipped recording a couple of them just because I was getting a lot of the customers hanging around, so I just didn't want to record while they were sitting there. But yeah, this one's the last one of the day. It's a mail-in, and this is more of just going to be the wrap-up of the video, plus just a reminder, hey, if you're going to mail me something in, you got to put in some information inside the box. So this person mailed it to me without any... without a note in the box, so I couldn't know for sure whose it was, where it came from, especially because the name that they shipped it with is not the name that they contacted me under. So I had a real hard time figuring out who this was. I finally figured it out based on the problems they were having and the type of cluster. This is an HD cluster, and I only was expecting one or two different HD ones, so it was easy to figure it out by that. But I was still making them confirm their identity, like what's the name that you ship the box under, because this isn't the name you contact me, because I don't want to send back the wrong box. I mean, send back somebody else's cluster to the wrong person. So yeah, if you're gonna ship something to me, make sure you put your contact information in there. I always send that. It's in the message of, hey, put this in there before you mail it out. I just copy and paste the same message every single time for my mail-ins. But yeah, I guess they didn't listen to what I wrote in there. So here I was spending 30 minutes, almost an hour, trying to figure out who the hell this belonged to. So if you're gonna run one of these businesses where you repair them, make sure that you let people know. Put your contact information in the box. When I'm getting 5 mail-ins a week, it's hard to know for sure who's this who's. When I first got started out, it was really easy because I was only getting one or two a month mailed in, so it was really easy to know who it went to. But now that I'm getting, up to 5 a week, I'm really getting one or two a week, but sometimes I get all the way up to five. So definitely one of those. Keep an eye out on what you're doing there. This one's just kind of the same old same. Where it's got the original stepper motors. Most of the stepper motors are bad, and it's got the cracked solder joints that are making it not turn on. So no need to really record this repair. It's a pretty straightforward repair. It's just figured it was worth throwing out the note of, make sure that if you're mailing yours out to somebody, even if you're not mailing it to me, if you're mailing it to some other random person, make sure you're putting your contact information so that way they can get you your cluster back to you. And then if you are mailing to me, I do require it. Like you really got to do that. I can't guarantee that I can get it back to you if you don't. Like this person's lucky I was able to find them throughout all my different emails and stuff, but that may not always be the case. So make sure you do that. And yeah, if you run this business, you should definitely require your customers to put their contact information, especially if they're emailing you with some random email address that doesn't even have a name associated with it. All right, well, I hope you guys liked this kind of random video of one of my days just working on one of the well, not working on one of these working on instrument clusters throughout the weekend. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. You can go ahead and hit that thumbs up, like, and share.